going on, guys? It's Corey here with TechMe, and today we're going to be doing a comparison of the LG G6 and the Google Pixel XL. Right off the bat, let's go ahead and go over some of the basic specs of each device. At $769, we have the Google Pixel XL, which comes with a Snapdragon 821 chip. It's got 4 gigabytes of RAM, 32 or 128 gigabyte storage options. However, if you're going with the 128 gigabytes, you're going to be paying an extra $100 for that. Now for the battery, we have a 3450 milliamp hour battery. And for fast charging on the bottom here, it comes with a USB 3.0 Type-C port, and it is absolutely not capable of wireless charging for those of you who are into that. Next up, $650, we have the LG G6, which comes with a Snapdragon 821 chip, 4 gigabytes of RAM. It's got 32 gigabytes of onboard storage. However, it does have a micro SD card slot for expandable storage if you want to go and throw one of those in there. For the battery, we got a 3300 milliamp hour battery, and the port on the bottom is a USB 2.0 Type-C for charging, and it's also capable of wireless charging. So out of the two phones, if you're looking for something that can do the wireless charging, you're going to want to go with the LG G6. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the design and the build of both of these devices. With the Pixel XL, we have an aluminum body, and on the back it has a glass panel up top with the fingerprint scanner. And when this phone came out, not a lot of people were satisfied with the design. Frankly, the front of it looks like an iPhone. The back of it just had this glass slab thrown on the top of it. Nobody knew why. However, I will say after using this device for a couple of months, it just really, it grew on me. It feels really great in the hands for a bigger device. And the aesthetics of it kind of was outweighed by the performance of the device itself. I stopped even caring about what it looked like, to be honest. As for displays, with the Google Pixel, let's just get it out of the way. The bezels on the front are absolutely disgusting. It was a complete waste of space. I have no idea what Google was thinking with this design, but now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead. We have a 1440 by 2560 5.5 inch AMOLED display. I absolutely love AMOLEDs. I think they're the best screens. I haven't had one problem with this display at any time I was using it as far as being outside with the brightness. Everything just looks really, really good on this screen. For the LG G6, we have a glass body with aluminum accents around the side. The back of this phone has that reflective look, kind of like the Honor 8, so anytime any sort of lighting hits it, it's going to look really cool. This phone is also IP68 certified, so it's water, shock, and dust resistant. So if you drop your phone in the toilet, you should be good to go with this one. For the G6, we have an IPS LCD display. This display kind of proved to me that I would be okay without an AMOLED. With that said, we have a 5.7-inch 1440 by 2880 IPS LCD display, which is about 80% screen-to-body ratio. The bezels are really small on this phone. The one thing I have noticed, though, is the bottom bezel is a little bit bigger than the top bezel. I'm really not sure why they did it. But aside from that, I also cannot stand the LG still put their logo on the front of the phone. I don't think anybody should be putting logos on the front of their phone anymore. I just think it looks bad. However, LG is definitely running in the right direction with these smaller bezel displays. I really hope that this is the gimmick, meme, whatever you want to call it for 2017 for phones, because it looks really, really good. There is the little problem with the 18:9 aspect ratio, and what that means is when you flip to landscape mode in YouTube, you're still going to have black bars on the side because the content was not created for this aspect ratio. To me, it's really not a huge deal. I've noticed in all the apps that I use, you can scale them through the settings of the phone, and you can have them fit the screen. With things like YouTube, though, there really isn't that option yet. However, I think 2-to-1 ratio is going to be the future with phones. So let's just hope for some odd reason I'm actually right about that, and we will never have to complain about this again. Now, I just kind of want to take a second and talk about my personal experiences as far as battery performance with both of these phones. I have to say that I'm very impressed with the G6 so far with the 3300 milliamp hour battery. About 90% of the time, it's lasting me an entire day. However, what you have to consider is I've only had it for a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, so I'm not exactly sure how it's going to wind up holding up a couple months down the road from now. Because with my Pixel XL, when I first got it, I had the same experience. I was getting great battery life. It was usually lasting me throughout the day. Now, though, it's really not the same. It's not horrible, but usually about 3, 4 o'clock, I have to plug in and get a little charge just to last out for the rest of the day. So when buying a new phone, camera is usually going to be a really big deal for a lot of people. And with both of these devices, you have a pretty great setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple comparison photos that I took with both of the phones today as I talk about the specs and my experience with them so far. The Google Pixel XL has a 12.3 megapixel rear-facing camera with an f2.0 aperture, and what I can say is this camera has digital image stabilization as opposed to optical image stabilization, and to me, optical is a lot better than digital. However, this camera has been one of the best, if not the best cameras that I've ever used on a smartphone. That goes for iPhones, Samsungs, across the board. My personal opinion, this has been my favorite camera to use on a smartphone. The G6 is sporting a dual camera setup on the back here, both having 13 megapixels each. One is an f1.8 aperture, the other is a 2.4 aperture. Now the latter of the two is a wide angle lens, and what that means is when you're in a spot and you want to get more into your shot, and instead of backing up, or if you can't back up, you're just going to click over, it's going to switch cameras, and you're going to have your wide angle lens, which is going to get more into the shot for you. It's as easy as that. What I can say is the f1.8 aperture 13 megapixel camera on the G6 has been great, but it's really nothing to write home about. Especially the video. I really didn't like the way that the video looks. The wide angle lens, to me, I didn't like it. I think the quality of it isn't that good, but I think pictures are subjective, and maybe somebody else likes it and I just don't, and whatever. So I'm going to put up all the pictures that I took with these, and you guys can be your own judge. And some people like certain things and some people don't. It is what it is. Just go ahead and get what you want and what you like. To end the video here, I just kind of want to talk about a couple things I liked and didn't like about each device. And what I want to say and just get out of the way before we keep going is both of these devices you can't really go wrong with. Pick one that is more suited to your needs for a phone. Don't let other people try to sway you in a certain direction. Get what you want. I mean, with both of these, you can't really go wrong. You're going to have a good experience either way. With that being said, let's talk about launchers. The Pixel XL has the Pixel launcher, which is the vanilla Android, kind of how Google intended Android to be. And with LG, you have their launcher, their UI skin put over on top of Android, which to me, I don't really like that much. It's a lot better than, say, Samsung for me. There's still bloatware, but the colors in particular, I think, don't really match much. I don't really think they're that appealing either. But with vanilla Android, you just get this kind of smooth, clean look. Kind of reminds me of iOS in a sense, but you still have that ability to customize and all that fun stuff. In the Pixel launcher, you swipe up to access the app drawer. In the LG launcher, you are given the option to either have a app drawer button in the middle on the bottom, or none at all, and just have all the apps on all the screens in the front. To me, the swipe up on the Pixel XL and the Pixel launcher has been great. I was really iffy about it when they first came out with it. However, now you get that extra spot for another app on the bottom on your dock. And with LG, I get that you can put a different launcher on it, like Nova Launcher, which is actually what I use when I'm using the G6. I put Nova Launcher on it, and I use the swipe up option. I would like to see more companies move towards the swipe up option. But again, just my personal opinion, I like the swiping up. I know it's not a huge deal. Being a Pixel user, you are going to get updates first before any other users. So whenever Google runs out an Android update, it's going to go to your device first. Now with LG, I've read that they were the first other manufacturer to roll out an update to Nougat. However, before Nougat, they were always very slow with their updates. So I guess it kind of depends on what you read. This is my first LG device. I don't have any personal experience with their updates, so I can't really speak to that. But if you do want the updates first, you're going to want to go with the Pixel or the Pixel XL. Another positive of being a Google Pixel user, or it could be a negative depending on which way you look at it, is you're going to get unlimited photo and video storage at full resolution. The reason why I say it could be a negative for you is because when you throw them into the cloud, they're technically not on your device. So if you're out and you want to access a certain photo that is in the cloud or the drive, wherever they store it, you're going to have to re-download it again. And that's going to use your data. So depending on whether you have unlimited or not, or you just don't want to use it, that might be a negative thing for you. Me personally, I enjoy it. I think it's perfect. It frees up space, especially on the 32 gigabyte variant that I have. With the G6, and the thing that keeps me from going back to my Pixel XL as my daily driver is really just the overall design and the build quality of this phone. So you have the smaller bezels, which means the bigger screen and a smaller body. The one-handed usability is really good. It just feels right. It looks right. It screams quality. LG did a really good job with this phone. And I have to say the Pixel XL has been my favorite Android to use this far out of any Android that I've ever used. So it's hard for me to actually admit that I really don't plan on going back to it at this point. I'm going to be getting the S8 in a couple weeks, and I guess we'll see how that goes. But until now, I'm just going to keep rolling with the G6 unless something else changes. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. And down in the comments, let me know how your experiences have been with the Google Pixel XL or the G6. Thanks so much, guys.